Welcome back to Pint Podcast, and in this episode, we're going to be reviewing all things Premier League. So starting close to home with you, Luke, and Burnley, how do you think they've done this season?
At the end of the day, we've finished quite a way above the bottom three in terms of points. I think you can look at the table and you think, oh, they've been in a relegation battle, but we were safe pretty much from the point we beat Everton in February, I think it were.
Yeah.
But what I have to say is we have been saved by just how poor the bottom three are. They were a million miles away from the rest of the teams, really. And we need to definitely be spending some money this season.
Yeah, that's one thing I were actually going to say to you, finishing one place above relegation, but by some way in terms of points. Would you say it's been a bad season for Burnley?
It's difficult. In a way, no, because after 7 games, we had 2 points, which is almost a quarter of the season with 2 points. So for us to finish on 39 and be pretty comfortable, you can't really say it's anything but successful in that regard. It started bad. If you look at it as a whole package, it's not been great, obviously, and there's been periods where we've played really, really badly, especially as soon as we got safe, we put sandals on, which is sadly just how it always is under Dyche. I don't know if that's a mentality issue or what, but yeah, I don't know. It's more than I thought we'd be around the position we are. I thought we'd be in that 15th to 17th bracket. I wish obviously we were a couple of places higher for the prize money, but what can you say?
What do you think's been different from previous years and when you have finished sort of very much bang mid-table in 10th and even challenging a couple of times for Europa League?
2 things. Injuries massively for us have hampered us. We've had more than any. I'd say the 2 clubs that have suffered the most have been with injuries have been Burnley and Newcastle in terms of missing key players. And the difference in form when those key players are available is stark with both teams. When we started the season, we didn't have Ben Mee, we didn't have Tarkowski. And we had 2 players just out of the depth at this level playing at centre back. So 2 points from 7 games with Kevin Long and Jimmy Dunn at the back. So
I'm just wondering if you're a Burnley fan or a Liverpool fan there, because all Liverpool fans, as soon as you said that, were like, Burnley and Newcastle, we've not had Van Dijk for all season.
Yeah, but what I'd say to any Liverpool fan who says that is, yeah, but you've got how many other players?
Yeah.
Burnley have to. And they'll be like, well, yeah, but we were playing youth teamers at centre-back. Well, yeah, but that was your choice. You did also sign that lad from Preston who you've never played, and that Turkish lad on loan who you played for a bit, and you could play Fabinho there, and and Henderson played. So whatever. Come on, you've got a squad of like 50 and a budget like 80 times what we have. That's absolute rubbish.
So last thing then for Burnley, will Dyche be there next season? Because I know you've said he may or may not go Crystal Palace, but what do you think?
No, I think he will. There's not much chatter about him. Palace seem to want a young, progressive. Not that Dyche isn't young in managerial terms, but they want one of these Wallies, don't they? Like Potter and Parker and Lampard. Any of these who've achieved essentially nothing, but can wear a coat nicely and have a nice southern accent. So, I wish them all the best with that. If that's what happens, I hope they get relegated because I'd find it funny. Dyche deserves an opportunity at a club bigger than Crystal Palace, in my opinion. What he's done this season with the squad he had is of the level of what he's done when he's got us to 7th, really, because the lack of depth we had, it's just not being perceived that way. But no, I don't think he'll go. Seems to be some decent discussions between him and Pace. He's been promised a budget, and I think that's all he wants. That's all he's looking for. He's never really had that. So, no, I'm confident he'll be staying. I think he might even be signing a new contract pretty soon.
Cool. Right, moving to you then, Josh, and Man United, 2nd in the Premier League and a European penalty shootout, 2nd place. What do you think for this year? Has it been successful? Has it not? And what's your thoughts on the season?
No, it's not been successful. We've won absolutely fuck all. And I know we had a conversation about it yesterday, and I know I don't like to use progression when we've effectively progressed from qualifying for the Champions League to qualifying for the Champions League. But we got to a final, which we've not done before. We finished one place higher in league, third last year, second this year. So in that sense, it is progression, but it's not good enough. At United, if you're not winning league, you have to win a cup for it to be anything like successful.
Is that an attitude, though, that's been installed probably 10 seasons ago? Like we said yesterday, we're thinking of a Man United team probably under Fergie when they had Rio and Vidic and Evra, you know what I mean, all these class players.
Yeah.
But do you think you should have a new target now, being that you've not been successful over 10 years?
No, because it's just accepting failure, isn't it?
It'd be like Leeds expecting to win Premier League because they did about 40 years ago under what's his face.
Yeah, but Leeds are
Nick,
financial trouble. United don't.
Leeds fans still think they do that.
Well, I know, but you know what I mean? It'd be like Leeds coming into the Premier League and then expecting to win it because they've done it in the past. You know what I mean? You should set new goals that are realistic for the team.
I think the second that any manager at United starts saying our goal is to finish fourth, then they should be kicked out immediately. United's aim every season should be to win league because they spent most money, they have the most money. Well, they make the most money. And they still one of the biggest teams in the world. They can't be settling for a battle for fourth every year. It's fucking ridiculous.
So let's stay with Ollie then. And we've touched on it this yesterday evening, actually, once obviously you did lose the final. So would success at Man United be winning the league? And do you think Ollie will eventually win it? Would you stick with him? Or would you be looking to replace him?
Well, there's a lot of managerial talk today. The Conte's gone, Zidane's gone. They will stick with him, whether I would or not. I said earlier on in season, I would love nothing more than to win something under Solskjaer, but I also said then I don't think we will. Tactically, he's not there. He's done a great job. He's been our best manager since Ferguson in terms of sort of building the squad. And things like that. Mourinho seemed to leave it in a right shit shape. Everyone hated everyone, players on massive contracts and things like that. He's done a good job. Whoever comes in after Solskjaer has got a really good sort of platform to build on. I would probably stick with him because Conte and Zidane are both very defensive managers. I don't think that's what United need at this time. I don't know who we'd get in.
So to clarify, you don't think you'll win anything under him, but you'd stick with him?
Yeah. But I don't know who we'd bring in. Who are you going to go and get?
I think you maybe have missed your opportunity with Pochettino, didn't you? I think that's what you were hoping for earlier on in the season, but that didn't happen.
Yeah. I don't know. It is difficult because I still think the issues are higher than the manager, but when it comes to players on pitch, manager's one who has to be held accountable, isn't he? As I say, I think they will stick with him regardless of whether I say on here. I think they should get rid. So
I want recording proof for you to say I want Ollie to stay.
You're not going to get that. I want him to win something.
Yeah, but you'd stick with him next season.
Yeah, I'd let him start the season.
Cool. So, sticking with Man United for the last thing, what are you changing next season for Man United to maybe win the Premier League?
We need one player who can do the job that Fred and McTominay do, because I'm sick of playing two holding midfielders. I mean, we didn't do it yesterday. We struggle against that sort of low block, so I'd bring in someone like Rice or Ndidi, someone who can just sort of do that job of two men in there and run about like a dickhead. We linked with Sancho again, and I think he'd offer something different, just maybe even as an alternative to Rashford, because he plays every single minute of every game and he looks absolutely knackered. I think he's been carrying an injury. I don't know. We're too reliant on him for someone who's quite inconsistent. Yeah. A centre back as well, because with Maguire out. Jesus Christ. Chuckle brothers.
What you're saying is you need to spend money and you need to spend it on proven quality players rather than...
Yeah, last summer were a bad summer. Chased Sancho all summer. Ended up getting lucky with Cavani on last day. He's been incredible, but there's no way he'll ever convince me he was the one United identified at the start of the summer and said, we'll get him in. Otherwise, he'd have been there at the start of the season and not scrambled around on deadline day.
Can I ask your opinion, Josh, on the subject of Cavani? So, no doubt, he's done well in the Europa League, aka the Carabao Cup of Europe, against
You were buzzing when you qualified for it.
Well, yeah.
You got a T-shirt.
I'm a Burnley fan.
Yeah.
He scored 10 goals in the league. Okay. Less than quite a lot of players, including Chris Wood. He's 35 in 2021. You've renewed his contract, which means, to me, that is confirmation you will not be signing a striker this summer. I'm sorry. I do not believe. We'll see, but there's no chance. Harry Kane will go City. Haaland looks like he's going to Barcelona because his agent's over there at the minute. So you're going to miss the boat again for a world-class striker, which Rashford isn't. I like him, but I don't really know what his best position is. I don't think anyone does. And he was absolutely appalling last night. He's not a goal scorer for me. He can't cross a ball. So what is he? I like him. He's quick, and I do like him. I've always said I do like him, but he's not a title-winning striker for me.
You're welcome.
That is not that bad. But yeah, my point being, short-termism again. I feel you've put a plaster on a gaping wound.
Yeah.
What the basis of my question is, would it not have shown a real pair of bollocks to say, thank you, Cavani, shake his hand, and go all out and sign Harry Kane, rather than accept that your neighbours, who you have spent less than, are going to sign him and get even further away from you for the next 5 years?
Yeah, there's still talk of us going for Kane, whether we will or not. I mean, that's the big thing, isn't it? If we do as you've said, and settle for Cavani, who has been... He has deserved another contract if that's what he's playing for.
I agree that. Yeah.
But if we settle for him and say we'll look at it next summer, see who's available, yeah, you're absolutely right. What we should do, what a well-run club would do, is go out and get Kane or Haaland, whoever the preferred one is, and let him work with Cavani for a year. Cavani is at the minute our best striker, so they had to tie him down for a new deal. Unless they had like Kane in bag or something like that, which they probably don't have. Like you say, I think he'll go City as well and score about 100 goals every game.
Which is the problem I'm getting at. Like, we're in the business. Man United are in the business of winning titles. That's what they've been. If you don't sign a striker and let him go, if you don't sign that striker specifically, because the only other club he'll go to is City. He's actually in that Gary Neville interview podcast thing said he doesn't want to go abroad. So that to me is going to Manchester one way or the other. There ain't a cat and L's chance he'll choose United ahead of City, because the reason for him wanting to leave Spurs is to win things.
Yeah, the only thing that might stop City is the amount Spurs will want. City do spend money, but they've not yet sort of gone above 70 million, I don't think. So if Spurs are going to be looking for 150, yeah, something like that, because they've got owners who know what they're doing. United haven't, so they might just go, yeah, here's 150 mil.
But if that happened, if he doesn't go to City, I think he'd go to Chelsea before you.
They don't deal with each other though, do they? I can't see Spurs selling to... Spurs don't have to sell. He's under contract for 4 years. I
suppose if Pochettino goes... Anyway, we're going off on a tangent on Kane, I guess, there. But I guess my point is just purely about the fact that I think, you need
to get the players now rather than waiting and signing, like you say, probably Cavani for another year, maybe extend it a year after that and wasting time.
Yeah. But then again,
I think that's it.
you're possibly right, because Cavani's looking at it at 35. He's probably wanting assurances he's going to be main man if he's staying for another year.
I just think it's pausing the situation. It's just saying, right, we'll have another year like this for another year. But
yeah.
And I don't see point. That's my argument, really.
Yeah, maybe we'll sell him. Get Kane and sell Cavani.
You might sell Martial. I don't know.
I hope so.
Maybe there's a plot.
I really hope so.
Back to the Premier League then, Luke. And who has surprised you this season, and what team?
Who hasn't surprised me? Liverpool, worst title defence in history. Everyone thought they'd be right up there with City. Although we all, to a man, said City would win the league.
We did.
But yeah, Liverpool, they've been shocking, really. I know they've won the last 3 games and padded the stats a bit after everyone else went onto the beach. But they've had a bad season. A lot of players for me. We talk about teams that need a bit of transition. Liverpool, Firmino, done for me. Mane, poor all season long. Very reliant on Salah to get them out of jail on multiple occasions. They've been a poor team, and I know they've missed Van Dijk, but you can't be so reliant on one player that you fall away to that extent, in my opinion. West Ham, outstanding. Absolutely fantastic. Team of the season for me. Moyes, manager of the season for me. I think the job he's done there is outstanding. He's signed some players I'd never heard of in some places, and they've been some of the best performers in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Not really spent much. I hope if he gets a decent whack this summer, there's no reason he can't push on further. For me, I think they're the two that stand out. Leeds, I did have down for relegation and finished sort of mid-table, so I'll give them a shout out and hold my hands up as well. They've done well.
Yeah. I'm going to stop you then, Luke, because I'm going to ask you about the bottom 3 teams. So the teams going down: Fulham, West Brom, and Sheffield United. Do you see any of them coming back up next season?
West Brom, if they get the right manager, because they're being linked with Wilder, and I think if he goes there, I think he'd do a good job. I think Sheffield United are in the right state. Lots of aging. It was an aging team anyway, with the likes of Sharp and McGoldrick and Norwood. They're all getting on a bit. The better players are going to leave. Looks like Berger's going. That's about it for good players there, isn't it?
It's a massive rebuild job, isn't it, really?
O'Connell, fantastic player. They've missed him hugely. I think that's been very much key to what you've seen there this season. But will he come back the same player? Me and Josh know full well what a cruciate knee ligament injury does to your ability to walk. So
same as Van Dijk. There's no guarantee he'll come back.
Can't believe Jordan Pickford didn't get sent off still for that. Can we just remind ourselves that happened? And Fulham, half the team's loan players, and they're all going to go back. I don't think Scott Parker's a good manager at all. He ragged it out of that league. They had the best squad in that division. It was a joke when they went down, and he ragged it through playoffs. And I hope they don't come up if they keep Scott Parker, because I don't like him.
As far as you're going to get that.
What about you, Nick? Do you think any of them will?
No, I don't, to be honest. I think I agree exactly what you just said there as well with West Brom. If they get the right manager, they've already got an all right team. They just need a couple of additions that is just going to keep them back up. And I think they're probably going to yo-yo between Premier League and Championship for a few years. Same as Norwich, though. They're up and down all the time. But I don't know. They're sort of too good for Championship, but get into Premier League and bottle it. So, we'll see. But moving towards the Europa spots with West Ham and Leicester, and what an impressive season West Ham have had. What do you reckon of that then, Josh?
Two different seasons, those two, really. I think Leicester were expected to be up there challenging for Champions League again, which they were, but I mean, that's mad, isn't it? They've spent, over the last 2 seasons, they've spent like 3 weeks outside top 4, and they've not qualified either time. I mean, that's got to be, if they're in that position again next season, you wouldn't have any confidence that they're going to get it done again. But Leicester did win FA Cup as well, which was big for them, first time they've ever done it. So yeah, FA Cup and qualifying for Europe's a good season for them. West Ham, unbelievable. And it were only really towards end. I think they were 2 points off Champions League in end, and they lost away to Newcastle. Just things like that. I know it's not the same, because if they'd have won that, they might have felt pressure and lost later on. But unbelievable season, and I think it might be better that they didn't qualify for Champions League. They're probably not ready for that. They might have got a bit embarrassed if they would have played that. It'd have been great for the fans, obviously. But Europa, I think they've got a really good shot. Group stage at Europa, it's like you're playing fucking Turkish farmers. So they should get through group stage. I mean, Rangers got to like quarterfinals, didn't they? So there's every chance they'll go play like they did this year. They might have a good chance at actually going far in that, which again, it'd be unbelievable. Hopefully they don't come up against Villarreal.
What do you think of Leicester's fumble? Again, 2 seasons on the trot, dropping from 4th down into 5th. What do you reckon to that?
I think it's a problem. I think they've got a massive problem, because both times they had massive gaps, and they're losing I think it was 4-2 they lost to Newcastle, but 4-0 down to Newcastle, or 3-0, whatever it were. Going for the Champions League, what are you doing? And even on last day, they only needed to beat Spurs, a very, very poor Spurs team, who probably didn't want to win because they've now qualified for Europa Conference League, and couldn't even get it done then after leading twice. I think they've got a real mentality issue that I mean, let's not get it wrong, they're punching above the weight. Them getting in Champions League would have been incredible. So I don't want to slate them too much, but yeah, it's got to be worrying if they wanted to kick on and they just can't seem to get it done.
It looks like they really needed to as well this summer, I think, because Tielemans is apparently going to Liverpool to replace Wijnaldum.
Oh, really?
That's what's being said today. And then the other point I want to say on that is Vardy's 34, and he's looked really poor since Christmas.
Yeah.
That time has come, I think, where he started to dip. For years, he's just been ageless, hasn't he? But I think they've, that lad, what's his name, Ian Atcho's done all right. But yeah, without Vardy getting 20 odd goals, that's going to be a kicker, because he's propped them up for me for the last year.
You don't think Ian Atcho can replace Vardy then?
No, I don't think they can get a striker who can score goals. Vardy's, I think, 3rd behind Salah and Kane for goals in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They're not going to get that, and that's a massive loss.
I think Ian Atcho's decent I think he's had a good season, but I think he's just going through a purple patch. I don't see him as a top level striker. And if he has another season like that, someone will snap him up anyway.
I think it's a real shame for Leicester, really, as well, because if you think about Leicester's finished 5th twice in 2 years, if at the start of the season you'd be like, wow, that's an actual fantastic job, but from the position that they've been in, it actually looks like a poor job. But Brendan Rodgers is, for the team he's got, the money he's spent, he's doing an absolutely amazing job, really. But I think it just goes forgotten with where they fell from. So we'll see.
That's it. If they'd have been sort of around 5th, 6th all season, and they'd have won FA Cup and clinched Europa on last day, everyone would be praising them. But it's the fact that for a second consecutive season, they've just dropped out at the wrong time.
Yeah. Would you take Rodgers at United, Josh? He's a cup winner and proven to be so.
Yeah, I just don't like
clubs.
So it's hard for me to put my personal feelings on him as a person aside. In terms of him as a coach, he's a better coach than Solskjaer in terms of he's won things. So yeah, I still think Solskjaer's like a lottery winner. He got the job, just let's get Ollie in. He's a nice guy, and he just sort of still there. It's bizarre. It's sometimes. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but sometimes I just sit and wonder how he's the manager, and he must do the same. No other. If Solskjaer got sacked tomorrow, where would his next job be? Back at Mould, probably.
Somewhere mouldy.
Which should be somewhere mouldy. That shouldn't be the case for Man United's manager. It should be someone who's sought after.
So just to confirm, Josh, you want him there next season, yeah?
I think he'll be there next season.
Right, let's finish off then. And the top 4, is anyone surprised you this season, Luke, who's finished in the top 4, or did you expect it would be roughly them 4 teams in that order?
Yeah, I probably thought it'd be those teams because, I mean, I think the Big Six is a joke now. It really isn't the Big Six. Arsenal they're a mid-table team. I have less fear playing Arsenal than I do West Ham, Everton, Leicester, numerous other teams. Arsenal are a joke. Probably, yeah. Knowing our record in cup competitions, you're probably right. But yeah, no, genuinely, Arsenal aren't a bit. Depends what you define as a big club. They're the same size as Newcastle. They've got a big stadium, and they win nothing and under-deliver to a large fan base year in, year out. And I don't think they've got the finance to ever get back to what they were. So, yeah, I don't ever see them or Spurs in the near future getting above that top 4. So no surprises from me. The order of them is probably a bit surprising. I wouldn't have put United above Liverpool before the season.
Yeah,
but that's down to United doing well on a points tally basis and Liverpool not.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Chelsea wise, I was proven correct on the German too. They've not moved them on to the next level. Timo Werner looks like a League Two striker.
Improved him? Do you think Tuchel's improved him?
Yes. Yeah, massively.
Sorry, Frank.
He has though, hasn't he? I mean, their performance against Real was fantastic across both legs. They looked like a big side again. They've got some players in that team are really, really just great to watch. Mason Mount's had a terrific season. I think he's one of the players of the season. I was a bit undecided on him, but I think he's come on leaps and bounds. Pulisic was great in those games. They've got a good side. If they could get, like I say, Harry Kane, if they could get a top level striker. I mean, you look at how well they've done. Champions League final, 4th position, without any kind of centre forward. Yeah. They've got Giroud, Werner, who got about 5 goals in the Premier League. You put what they used to have, like a Drogba, back in that side, they'll be right up there. But
the rumours are Hazard going back.
I don't think they need that. They need a centre forward for me. Because they've got number 10s and wingers galore, and they're all really good. I think even though I criticised Havertz, I think he's young, he can come on. I think Werner's a dud though. But they get a centre forward.
Yeah.
Fancy him next season.
Cool. Right, well, we've been Pint of Pint, and we'll see you next week for our Pint of Pint Best 11. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.